You're listening to the Betoota Advocate's weekly news wrap on Desert Rock FM 96.5. Welcome back to the Betoota Advocate News Bulletin. The day is Monday, the 25th of November. We're recording live from Baxter Boots Studios. You're joined by myself, Clancy Overell, editor of the Betoota Advocate, and of course, Errol Parker, editor-at-large. How are you, Errol?
I'm all right, mate. Getting there.
Good to hear. And of course, the newsreader, as always, the Cameron Williams of the Diamantina Shire, Wendell Hussey. What's in the news this week, young fella?
Bushfires are still in the news, but there is some better news on that front, with a mid-North Coast family in emergency 2-star motel after home burnt down, stoked with Stark's 4-wicket haul.
A touching story after the PM tweeted out that the Aussie cricketers would give the fire-impacted community something to cheer for. He actually was proven right. As bushfires rage, one young family, their entire house was lost, and they're now living in a shitty motel. But they really did have something to cheer for, as the boys in baggy greens bullied the visiting subcontinental side.
Yes, and congratulations to David Warner for scoring a big time on a flat track.
You're back, Davey.
Return of the King. And Nick Hebros commented on that story with an interesting point. He said, given the choice between a strong government policy response to the fires and seeing our boys flat track bludgeon a visiting subcontinental team ill-equipped for the conditions, I know which one I would pick.
Cricket emoji.
Back home in town now, and local groom-to-be would honestly be fine with Viennetta as the cake.
Yes, that's a very typical man thing to say, Wendell, isn't it?
After months of cake tasting, suit fittings, and location scouting, a local man named Mark said he would honestly be fine with getting married in a tent and serving up the popular upper middle class Australian dessert to their guests.
A Coles Madeira cake was also tossed up, but that was knocked on the head too, as well as other cost-cutting measures like pigeons instead of doves. Now, in some other local news from around the Diamantina Shire, a woman with self-diagnosed internal bleeding relieved to remember last night's beetroot salad.
Yes, local woman Ellie Redbog was preparing to get her affairs in order after receiving a near-terminal self-diagnosis. It was a big scare from the beetroots after about 43 minutes of basically thinking about where she was going to move her money to and who she was going to leave it for. She remembered last night's beetroot salad.
Well, maybe if she did the at-home bowel cancer check where you have to shit into a bag and then you've got to put that bag in the mail, that might have led to a more accurate diagnosis, which everyone should do once they get over 50.
She was also going to send her dog to live with her parents after the crimson hue appeared in her stool, before realising what the cause of the defecation was.
Yes, a truly charming story.
And from one distressed local to another, local woman now accountable for her actions after Mercury retrograde wraps up.
Now, you're a millennial. You can explain what Mercury retrograde is to our listeners?
I miss this. I initially thought it was just a sports drink, but apparently it's something to do with Mercury going backwards, east to west or west to east or something like that.
I'll have to get this up here.
Yeah.
Retrograde occurs when Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun, appears to move backwards as it passes the Sun, which is just an optical illusion. But the nation's purple-haired aunties and now a growing community of technology-obsessed millennials believe that this is the purest form of astrology and very likely to affect your moods.
Yeah, right. Well, I thought it was something you believe in just before your brain gets to the Chris Benoit level of fucked.
No, it's more and more popular. The hysteria surrounding Mercury retrograde comes from the idea that the gravitational pull from the planet closest to the Sun influences the water in our bodies in the same way that the moon controls the tides. But it's over now, which is a relief for many, and this local woman, Mia Dottie, is now responsible for her own actions.
No more missing flights, losing keys, and pointlessly fighting with her mum and sisters. And in sports news now, Gabba Curator drops in section of Vulture Street into pitch ahead of first test.
Yes, and for those listeners who don't know what Vulture Street is, it is arguably the most important street in Brisbane. It dissects it, and of course, a lot of cars on the road means a very hard road. And the curators, they wanted a pitch that was both going to score runs and going to produce a lot of wickets, which it did. So hats off to the curator, and I hope that the people of Brisbane get their section of road back.
Because a lot of people were actually confused by that article. Some thought that maybe the curator was dropping in the 2003 Powderfinger album into the pitch.
The cracks would have been opening up before day 4 if that was the case. Anyway, that's all I've got here for this week. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to join us again next time for your weekly dose of honest and hard-hitting regional news. Until then, I'm Wendell Hussey.
I'm Clancy Overell.
And I'm Errol Parker. We should kick Victoria out of the Commonwealth.